a dreadful, disgusting game in New Orleans.
Well,
No De'Aaron Fox in this game, and man, could the Kings use De'Aaron Fox. But the Pelicans were shorthanded too. No Brandon Ingram, he sat out. No Jonas Valanciunas, he sat out. And of course, Zion is still out. It didn't matter. On the second night of a back-to-back for the Pelicans, they destroy the Kings at home, 136-104. I'm Deuce Mason. That's Morgan Reagan. Hi, Mo.
hi, Deuce.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm ready to vibe. I'm ready to chill. I think losses like this, sometimes you look at a loss like this, and you're like, oh, there's nothing. This was dumb. Throwaway. No, there's still a few things to break down from this one even. And yes, there's actually something good to even talk about too. But
okay.
But mostly the bad. And I want to start with this bad. And this is a tweet from Sean Cunningham. And he said, with tonight's loss in New Orleans, the Kings have now dropped 8 of the 10 instances this season where they faced a team that's playing on the second night of a back-to-back. It's just not their jam.
Their rest advantage. It's crazy. Like you usually take care of it. And by far, they have the worst record in the league when it comes to rest advantage. I believe it's 4-13 overall now. So you're just left scratching your head. And then tonight, you look at this game and look, I get it. It's the NBA, right? Like these teams are talented. The Pelicans have a deep team. They just snapped a 10-game losing skid yesterday, though, in a win over the Lakers. They're feeling good, but then they lose a couple of starters.
Yeah.
And you go, what just happened? Like, it's one thing to lose. It's how the Kings lost. This was by far their worst game of the season in my mind, just from defensive breakdowns to poor execution offensively, just terrible passing. It was dreadful tonight.
It was. I think that's the best way to put it. And I heard the guys at the half on NBC Sports California talking about just everyone's Kyle Draper was talking about everyone's plus minus. In like at the half, Keegan was minus 21. Someone else was minus 20 something. Everyone was just minus on the floor, right? No one could do anything right. No one could get anything going. Obviously, Davion Mitchell started this game. I loved
how he came out.
Same. I thought he came out so aggressive. He was attacking right away. He was trying to get to the basket, not only to look to pass out to the person open in the corner, he was looking to score and trying to become that aggressive threat. Was a great way to start the game. And then when Delly came in, I wasn't too worried. You know, like he's a vet. You have someone who can just manage the ball, right? That's why when he comes in, I'm okay with it. But for some reason, the Kings, it seemed like, could not play a lick of defense. And this Pelican squad was getting in the paint without 2 of their main big guys even on the floor.
Looking at the box score tonight,
I know.
Willie Hernangomez had 22 points and 16 rebounds against the Kings. He did it off the bench in 28 minutes. I think the most frustrating aspect about the last couple of games, but specifically tonight, obviously things are going to change when De'Aaron Fox is not out there. And De'Aaron's ability to put pressure on the defense, how elite he's been this year in the mid-range.
Sure.
And we've also talked about his growth defensively, putting pressure on the ball at the point of attack. He's done a much better job this season at doing that. And I understand with him out, it's going to change a little bit. But I need guys to help Sabonis. Like Kevin Huerter was really, really bad tonight.
Yep. Didn't score until the 4th.
It was, and to Mike Brown's credit, like he kept those guys in there in the 4th. He put them back in the 4th quarter, him and Keegan, because it's like, we got to get these guys going somehow.
Yes.
And they are just not knocking down anything. Like starting with Kevin Huerter, I just think the most disappointing aspect for him tonight just didn't seem like he's locked in. It's just, he was getting toasted defensively. He was getting worked defensively. And like, look, there are going to be certain matchups that aren't great for him.
Sure.
But again, what can you control? Right?
And we've seen
playing with a little physicality out there.
We've seen him do that.
In.
We've seen him do that. And that's what's frustrating about it, Deuce. We've seen him the beginning of this season even. I know it was exciting what he was doing from beyond the arc on the offensive end to start this season. But truly, how many times did we talk about Kevin Huerter on the defensive end and, don't sleep on Kevin Huerter's defense, the deflections, being locked in, being able to stay in front of a guy, his size actually just making an impact. And it hasn't lately. And I don't know exactly why that is, but I think what you just said, just being locked in. And what else can help you become a little bit more locked in? Staying physical, control what you can control.
So many defensive breakdowns.
Right.
The Pelicans finished this game with 66 points in the paint against Sacramento. They also out-rebounded the Kings by 10, 48-38. Because I get in discussions with people, other Kings fans on our Discord during the game. People are like, oh, man, Sabonis has to do more. Sabonis has to do this. And you look at Sabonis' final numbers. He had 12 points. He had 11 rebounds. He did it on 5 of 10 shooting in 27 minutes. But I'm going, the guy is getting doubled. Without Fox there's so much more attention on him.
Sure.
He already gets so much attention as it is. It is crucial for other guys to be able to step up. And if the Kings could just knock down some shots, especially from the starting group, from Keegan to Kevin Huerter, it would change everything. But tonight, you look at Kevin Huerter, he gives you a 3 of 8 shooting, 2 of 7 from 3. Keegan, 1 of 7, 0 for 6 from 3. On this road trip, Kevin Huerter is shooting 6 of 29 from 3. He's a guy that's shot it pretty well from 3 this year, 40%. This is the worst time to go through a funk with Fox out. Meanwhile, Keegan Murray, who had
the best January of his life.
Exceptional, right? Hit the 3-point shooting was like 51%. He was near the top of the NBA and made threes. In his last 3 games, he has 7 total points, 2 of 21 shooting, and 1 of 14 from 3-point land. So when 2 of your starters, 2 guys that you've been able to count on, at least recently, to knock down from the outside, aren't knocking down from the outside, it's changing things. And it just shows you the importance of De'Aaron Fox so much, right? Like, maybe the Kings aren't able to do the same dribble handoffs as they're used to doing without Fox in the lineup. Sabonis is so good with the dribble handoff to get looks for Keegan and Kevin Huerter. Some of those same looks have disappeared throughout this last couple games.
And I understand that completely. I feel like Mike Brown, for the most part, has done a great job with making sure there's not a drop-off when they go to the bench or the second unit. And what you've seen at times, and now especially these last couple without De'Aaron Fox, just in a complete identity shift without this leader and this manager out there. And you would think they would be able to find ways with at least Sabonis out there to still make it manageable and still be able to have certain threats from the outside and have guys understanding the motion offense, how to be disciplined and run it correctly. I get De'Aaron Fox is elite coming off of dribble handoffs or pushing the ball up the floor, what you see from him in the fourth quarter. We all can understand that. But the drop-off can't be this bad.
No, because you already know you're going to get a drop-off offensively with Davion out there.
Sure.
And Davion, although more aggressive tonight, just can't knock down his shot. He took some threes tonight. He was 1 of 6. And so when Davion's not... Again, you're not going to make up for Fox's 25 points easily, right? It can't just be from one guy. It's got to be multiple guys stepping up. Keegan has to be more aggressive. I think, too, for Keegan, I felt like there were times, even late in the game, it's like, dude, you're in there in the fourth quarter for a reason. It's because Mike Brown wants to get you going.
To get yours.
So don't pass up an open 3 to dish it to Davion Mitchell in the corner for 3. Like, go get yours and try to do a little more putting the ball on the floor. I felt like he put the ball on the floor that one time tonight early.
Went baseline? I had
there
one
was
other
one
time
in the first half where it went behind the back, turned the ball over. And
Okay.
Like, you got to tighten that up, but I want to see more of that from him.
One other time, he did it from the corner. He went baseline.
Yeah.
He was too far under the basket and had to pass out when really, instead of leaving his feet, if he had taken a jump stop or just kept the ball going and took a power dribble and angled himself at the basket.
Oh, when he was at the rim and he dished to the corner?
Yes,
I remember that play.
He was too far under, but like in that moment, there was no one coming over to help. That's when you got to look to either spin or take that power dribble, get big and get yours. He has the ability to do that. It just, his mindset needs to shift.
Yeah, and just to be clear, when we're talking about this, I'm not sitting here hitting a panic button when it comes to the Sacramento Kings. You're playing without De'Aaron Fox. In my opinion, he's going to be named an All-Star really soon.
Yeah.
Especially with Steph Curry missing the next few weeks. Who knows if Zion's going to play? You would think that Silver would put him in the All-Star game.
You'd think.
But, like, the Kings really haven't had losses like this season. You're thinking about their biggest losses of the season. The biggest losses this season, 18 to Toronto.
Okay.
That wasn't too long ago, just at home. 18 in Boston. And then they lost by 20 to Philly. This was the first real, just absolute, like, dog shit performance that they've had. And it is triggering because we've done night chats following games like this a lot in previous years. We have not seen it a lot this year. And as you get closer to the trade deadline, I do get the sense there's some, anxiousness with the fan base when you go, it's getting tight here. There's 30-something games to go. How are you going to respond?
Well, I think there's so many things that you can factor in too. I think there's so many people who were in. I'm not dogging on anyone. So many people who were very confident in this road trip going, hey, they're going to come back 5-2. No one predicted De'Aaron Fox was going to be out because of personal reasons. But, Deuce, this is a game against the Pelicans when they have all their guys out too, that it should be like, okay, this is your chance.
Oh, yeah. These are the games that if you don't get the spot you want, whether it's making the playoffs or let's say worst case scenario, you're talking about, man, the Kings are in the play-in. What happened? You're going to remember like some of those weird home losses to Charlotte, to LA at one point, Atlanta. And then you're going to remember a game like tonight where you're like, dude, like you had a huge advantage tonight. Like Brandon Ingram is a tough cover. He's a really challenging cover. You don't really have the guys to defend that. It's like they didn't miss. I mean, I thought the other thing with Keegan, and I'm not, again, I think when I'm talking about Keegan, I want to make it clear. The guy's a rookie, okay? We're asking for a lot, but I'm being critical. Like, these are things he has to get better at, especially if he's going to play a significant role. The shooting, I'm less concerned with. I thought tonight the confidence looked a little off to me, and I thought defensively there were too many mistakes. Like, everyone in the league knows Trey Murphy is a good three-point shooter. So you got to get Trey Murphy off the line. You cannot be playing off of him. He catches the ball, and he's in a shooting motion. Keegan definitely puts his hand up, but at that point, you're talking about an NBA player. That's like him warming up before a game and an assistant coach is closing out with just a hand up. Like, he is in his rhythm. He's going to knock down that shot. Trey Murphy had a great night against the Lakers last night. He was even better tonight. He had 30 points, 6 of 8 from 3. Make him put the ball on the floor. I cannot have him just catching and shooting 3 with just a little hand in the face.
Didn't he put the ball on the floor and cross? Was that Murphy? That crossed Keegan over so hard.
On the, he got him bad on that.
Threw down the dunk. That was nasty.
Now, on that play, he did.
No help.
Where's the help? Like, I can live with Keegan Murray because he was actually playing decent defense for a second. Murphy got him. That shit's gonna happen,
dude.
You watch the film, clean up. You learn guys' tendencies.
Yep.
He crossed Keegan up, and then dunked on it.
Where was no one? There was no one there and help. No one's even like, I got help, and they're like running over. It was like someone's head was turned, not ready to go. Way too many things like that happening tonight on the defensive end.
McCollum kicks it out. Murphy for 3. Ring it up. They're down 23. We're talking about a team that's determined to break a 16-year playoff drought. Boy, the way they're playing tonight, they can't beat anybody.
Damn, G-Man!
That was Gary Gerald after a Trey Murphy 3, and it got even worse.
Keegan Murray, who's had a horrific last couple of games, just turned the ball over, threw a pass right into the hands of McCollum. Transition 3, score it. It's a 26-point separation. Timeout, Sacramento. I am stunned. 82-56.
I think G-Man was a lot of us tonight, just like stunned at the ease at which it happened for them. Trey Murphy, not only 6 of 8 from 3, but he was 9 of 11 overall in this game. Najee Marshall came in, attacked, played with aggressiveness. He played with force. I thought he got it. I think he had 9 points in the first few minutes of the game, finishes with 17. CJ McCollum, 24 points. He was also 9 for 11 shooting, Morgan. The Pelicans end up shooting 56% in this game. They are 14 of 26 from 3. On the other side, the Kings shot just 42%, 11 for 42 from downtown.
Just like we already know, these games happen in the NBA.
Yeah.
And we could start the whole podcast with that statement right there. These games happen in the NBA. You look around the NBA tonight and you see that Denver fell to Minnesota.
That's misleading.
128-98. Yes, but my whole point to even that score, right? If you go down and you look at who's playing and who's not playing and everything. My whole point though, you go to this game with the Sacramento Kings and New Orleans Pelicans, and you're just like, you want them to capitalize on, it's the second night of a back-to-back.
True.
You want them to capitalize on not having their main pieces out there. And instead, the Pelicans capitalize on the Kings not having De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, Minnesota tonight had their guys back in the lineup. The Nuggets had nobody, right? Like DeAndre Jordan started at center for them tonight. You know, Christian Brown, the rookie, started for them tonight. Bruce Brown started tonight. Kankar started. Porter. They were without Murray. They were without Jokic. And then Minnesota did what you're supposed to do in that situation.
Take advantage.
You take care of business. They win by 30. And that's not to say that the Kings need to win by 30 tonight. They are missing a key piece in De'Aaron Fox, but you got to be more locked in. And I think that's the biggest takeaway is like this time of the year, we are in an important time, right? I know the Pelicans are in the 10th spot. They're not that far away from you, though, and that's where it gets tough. This was the first time you got to face them this year. You know, you play them twice more this season, but these matchups are meaningful. And next time you play them, Zion could be back. You know, Ingram could be back.
I was going to say,
and whatever they do at the deadline.
And I think that win might have put them over 500 it put the Pelicans over 500 right now. As we do this podcast, they're in that 9th spot. And like we keep saying, we knew that the second half of the season, teams, they get healthy, or teams, they find their rhythm, they find their groove, they make a push, they make trades, they make moves, things change. And for the Kings, they've had such a great year with so much consistent shooting, so much health, knock on wood, so many things going in the right direction for them. They can't let up now as teams make their adjustments to just make their teams even better.
Yeah, we mentioned the rough nights from Herter, who had a really challenging night, challenging road trip, really shooting, and Keegan. Harrison Barnes, 7 points, 1 of 3. That's rough. 5 of 6 from the free throw line. So just not a good night. The bench had moments tonight where, they're able to score, but even that in the second half looked completely different to me. It just looked really, really terrible.
TD came in pretty quick and was like, hey, okay, I'm going to get things going for everyone while no one else can, and then it stopped.
It was also some of his defensive mistakes. And I think what I like about Davis and what he brings, he can come in, he'll attack, he can knock down a three, and he'll get into guys defensively, but it's those little defensive mistakes that happen where – you know, he closes out bad on the guy and he angles the wrong way, allowing a straight line drive.
Yes.
And those are the mistakes that, like, for your team, they just can't happen, right? And I think that frustrates Mike Brown a lot watching him. You know, Delly got cooked many times tonight.
You saw Chimezi Metu. I know at one point there's a sideline out of bounds play and he got cooked, but he recovered with a block. He had 2 blocks in this game, and there was times where he wasn't doing the right thing, but then he had a nice recovery. And that's what you want to see if bad things are going to happen. But too many bad things were happening. Too many people were not recovering. Too many miscommunications. It didn't seem like a lot was going to happen unless the Kings were doing something in transition, because when they had a big dunk from Monk or, whoever was pushing the ball up, that's when things were going well. It just wasn't enough of that. Only 10 fast break points.
Yeah, Monk kind of sparked him for a stretch. Okay, this bench. Yeah, I think I noted it down. In the first half, the starters were outscored. Let me just double check this. I believe 48-13 in the first half.
God.
Yeah, pretty crazy stuff.